Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Darcinovia here. This is my first stream with my new mic. So if you're wondering why the sound quality is a lot better than it normally is, it's because I bought a new mic that was on sale on Amazon. This would have been usually $50, but considering the fact that it was on sale, what the hell? Of course, if you're curious to know what it looks like, I'll just show you really quick. This is my new mic. So hopefully the sound quality improves. So yeah, I basically just bought a new mic just to improve. And in a way, I'm actually glad I delayed the stream for a few days, considering the fact that, well, the killer of George Floyd, the pig, is going to prison. And honestly, I don't know how to feel about this, considering the fact that it's a good thing that this piece of shit is getting what he deserves. It feels like a hollow victory. It's like if the situation wasn't as bad as it is in the U.S. right now, if people didn't threaten to riot if he was acquitted, which I don't care, it would have been justified. I would have supported the riots because there should be consequences if pigs get away with murder. It just feels like they just did this just to throw a bone and try to get people to calm down as the cops, the pigs, murder more, people. This is not really a victory. It really isn't. The population of the country is still being oppressed by the police. The police are still being militarized. The police could still kill people and do whatever they want. They're not being held accountable. This is just one case where the jury did the right thing, convicted him, just because there was the evidence for him murdering George Floyd was strong. It's like anyone that denies the footage of the pig pressing his knee on George's neck, anyone that denies that he didn't die, who died from that, is a piece of shit. And I know there's people out there. I'm not even going to call them right-wingers. I'm just going to call them fascists because that's exactly what they are. Essentially losing their mind because the pig didn't get away scot-free. I'm not going to call them right-wingers. I'm just going to call them fascists because calling everyone a right-winger, especially if you're a communist, is dumb because everybody in America would be considered right-wing if we're going by that logic. So I'm going to avoid using the word right-wing when I refer to those who are salty about the results. So I will not refer to them as right-wingers because communists in America, let's be real with ourselves, we're so far to the left in America that everybody is right-wing. So we got to make that distinction, honestly. So I'm just going to refer to them as fascists. And I might react to some people's reactions, honestly. I think anybody that's actually angry about the results, it says a lot about their personality. It really does. And I think people that are actually outraged over this result obviously approves of state-sanctioned violence. And those who claim that, this is the state, cracking down on people, it's like, who the fuck do you think the police are? The police are hired fucking killers. They're thugs. They work with the state. The state are their employers. They get paid by the state. They get paid by our fucking tax dollars to murder people. So no, I want my money to go towards something that will actually help my countrymen, not fucking murder them. The police are just another branch of the military. Let's just be honest here. And to say that this is like the state like giving in to the mob. One thing I've noticed when I hear these people talk about the mob, who are the mob? The people demanding justice? The people actually believing that, rightfully so, that this pig deserved to go to prison? I think he got off easy. I think he deserves worse, in my opinion. But I'm not the jury and I'm not the executioner. I would never want to be in that position. But I think that guy doesn't deserve, he's going to get his sentence. It's going to be nowhere near as harsh as he will deserve to get. He's probably going to get very light compared to what a black, police officer would have gotten if they were in the same situation. He's going to be basically treated with kid gloves by comparison. It's just not really a victory. It's really difficult to see this as a victory, honestly. Now, I might look up some, just for shits and giggles, the right wing's, reaction to it. Let me rephrase that. Fascists. If I had to be honest with you, Attack of the Menace, I actually thought he'd be acquitted. I actually thought he would have gotten away with it, knowing how this fucked up, system works. I actually honestly thought he would have gotten away with it. And I think under normal circumstances, he would have. If there wasn't a pandemic ravaging the country, if the tensions between the, people in Georgia's area where he got murdered wasn't as high as it was, if people's trust in the police wasn't as low as it was, they would have probably just let him get away with it. And he probably would have gotten off on something minor. Honestly, I just don't believe he would have gotten his deserved sentence otherwise. Yeah, I think he got off easy. He deserved worse than going to prison. Then again, I'm not a police officer. I am not a jury. I'm not an executioner. But I do believe he deserved worse. Much worse. And I think, I just don't think this is really a victory. And honestly, I know I don't normally like to do this. Let's react to a video regarding this controversy. Honestly, you're right. If it wasn't filmed, he would have gotten away with it if it wasn't filmed. Yeah, I do think the rage has a lot to do with it. The jury looked at the pros of probably acquitting him, and they thought this would not be worth it. It wouldn't be worth. They probably didn't want to get lynched. And you know what? I don't care if the jury gave in to the mob. Why? Because you should be fucking afraid. If you're going to let a murderer get away with murder, you should be afraid for your life. I'm sorry. If you actually genuinely don't believe the man is innocent, but you're doing it for your own self-preservation, I'm sorry. You deserve to be afraid for your life. I don't fucking have sympathy for fascists. I really don't have any sympathy. I have no sympathy for the people that are bootlickers for this system. I have no sympathy for any of them. If that is their reason for voting to, make him guilty, then good. I think if there's a person that murdered somebody in broad daylight in a modern day lynching, and they see the evidence right in front of them, and they're having second thoughts about convicting him, but the only reason they're not having freaking even considering acquitting him because they know that the mob will lynch them and go after them, good. I don't care, honestly. Seriously, I don't care. I mean, I'm just being real here. Justice, you don't fucking, if you truly believe in justice, you'll do it because you actually truly believe in it. If you don't actually believe in justice and fear is your only motivation, then you don't believe in justice to begin with. Then again, I don't know what these jury are like. Maybe they actually do believe he was guilty, but I don't believe it. I think he's only, convicted because they didn't want anything to do with, the people that would have probably retaliated if he was, acquitted for his crimes. Anyway. Oh, shit. I'm probably going to hate myself for this. I think I can't. Oh, God, hold on. Wait, I can't watch the video, can I? Oh my God. I can't watch the video. Wow. Oh, shit. Looks like so much for that idea. Oh, whoa. Okay, I could. Oh, my God. This is going to be an interesting one. Oh, guys, you guys will know soon enough. I've reacted to him before on the War on Nerds. And considering that it's relevant to what we're talking about, let's just see this shitbag's reaction. I mean, seriously, let's just see what this shitbag's reaction to the pig getting what he justly deserved. Let's react to it right now. Yes, geeks and gamers, we're reacting to this guy. We're going to react to this fucking bootlicker of the pigs. Let's just see. Come on, guys. Let's just see what this moron has to say.
Only today that politicians are exactly who we said they were. Politicians are only interested in keeping people angry and divided. They're only...
Oh, interesting. You're telling the truth for once. I wonder how you're going to twist this, though.
Interested in pushing misinformation to keep people acting exactly how they want them to act.
Who the fuck do you think Trump was? Who do you think your boy Trump was? Self-rejection much?
Therefore, they can benefit from it. Charles Barkley just a few weeks ago said some comments that went viral, and hopefully it got through to a few people at least, because most people watching this video, we already knew this. We know what the politicians are about, whether they're on the right or the left. The majority of these politicians are garbage. They're trash. They are the swamp.
Yet you support Trump, who's part of the swamp. The irony!
We know this. The comments made by AOC today after the Derek Chauvin verdict are absolutely disgusting, and they only confirm...
Disgusting? How so? I'm not a fan of AOC, but what do you think he's going to say about this? What do you think is so offensive that AOC said? What do you think? What do you think he's going to say? This is going to, be interesting.
From everything Barkley said and everything that we've been saying for years. George W. Bush out there running his mouth. Can't stand George W. Bush. I've never liked George W. Bush. Barack Obama, Joe Biden.
Welcome to the club, moron. Nobody on the left likes these people you're talking about.
Maxine Waters, Kamala Harris. They're all doing it. They have no shame whatsoever.
Oh my God, you actually are telling the truth. But, and I'm saying that the buts, this is, after all, a grifter. What is he going to say? What is this far-right grifter going to say?
Listen to what Charles Barkley said, and then listen to what AOC said. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Shared that news, how painful it was. Yeah, but the one thing I took out of that piece was, man, I think most white people and black people are great people. I really believe that in my heart. But I think
the classic. Oh yes, let's use, the token black guy to shield myself from racism, and probably in a few seconds he's probably gonna say something racist. I'm calling it.
system is set up where our politicians, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, are designed to make us not like each other so they can keep their grasp of money and power. They divide and conquer. I truly believe.
How ironic that you're sharing this clip, Jeremy. People in CBS, they're all about that. Just like Fox News, just like CNN. What is your point?
Most white people and black people are awesome people, but we're so stupid following our politicians, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. And their only job is, hey, let's make these people not like each other. We don't live in their neighborhoods. We're all got money. Let's make the whites and blacks not like each other. Let's make rich people and poor people not like each other. Let's scramble the middle class. I truly believe that in my heart.
And that's 100% accurate. Now, after you hear Barkley say,
okay. Wow, so you have anti-working class, sentiment coming from that. As for, the rich and the poor, that's class struggle, bro. That's class struggle. There's been antagonism against the rich and the poor since the dawn of time. It's nothing new, honestly. But Jeremy is going to push this narrative of AOC.
That I want you to listen to AOC's comments after the verdict. After the verdict, listen to what she has to say.
Show the clip.
This is a terrible, terrible person right here.
Terrible person. I think you're the last person to criticize AOC for being a terrible person, Jeremy. I mean, seriously, you have cultivated a fucking racist cult of people in your audience. Most of your audience are freaking far-right extremists. Most of your audience are white nationalists. You're going to criticize AOC? Look at the kind of company you keep, Jeremy, before you criticize other people. I mean, this is self-projection on your part.
It's not justice. And I'll explain to you why it's not justice. It's not justice because justice is George Floyd going home tonight to be with his family. Justice is Adam Toledo getting tucked in by his mom tonight.
Wait, hold on. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with her saying that? That's what most of the people who actually are happy about the verdict say, who feel like mixed about it. It doesn't feel like justice to them. If you lost your family member and their killer, was brought to justice, would you feel the same way, Jeremy? Or are you a sociopath that doesn't care about anyone but yourself? This is a normal human reaction.
Justice is when you're pulled over, there not being a gun that's part of that interaction because you have a headlight out.
I don't think this is helping your case, Jeremy. Nothing AOC says is wrong. And I'm not an AOC fan. But there is nothing wrong with what she's talking about right now.
Justice is your school system not having or being part of a school to prison pipeline. Justice is a municipality and a government that does not, because it trickles down, right? That does not value military and armaments more than it values healthcare and education and housing.
There's nothing wrong with that. But then again, Jeremy hates the poor and he hates the working class. So of course he's going to have a problem with something like that. I don't like AOC. I think AOC is a useful idiot. But seriously, if you're actually really going to like say that what AOC says is wrong and she's a terrible person, for the love of God, what the fuck is wrong with these people? AOC, what she says makes sense, but we live in America. In America, saying what AOC says is too radical, even though this is centrist as fuck. There's nothing far left about what she's talking about. But let's see what Jeremy and his like stupid, whatever narrative he's going to push on this one is going to say about this.
This is a terrible, terrible person. AOC is a
terrible person. Look who's talking. Do you see that stuff in your background, dude? You are middle class. You are privileged as fuck. Have you actually considered what it's like to live in poverty? Have you considered what it's like to worry about healthcare bills that will bankrupt you? No. This is a terrible person, guys. This is a person that has nothing but contempt for the working class. If you actually think what AOC said makes her a terrible person, then what does that say about you, Jeremy? What makes you not a terrible person compared to AOC? AOC, I don't like her. I think she's essentially an establishment hack. But what she said, there was nothing wrong with it. And if you're going to criticize her for being a terrible person, you should look in the mirror before you criticize AOC.
Is a terrible person.
But this is
why they wanted Trump out. This is why. They had to have Trump out of the way because, again, as Trump tweeted out before he was taken off Twitter, in reality, they're not after me. They're after you.
They wanted Trump out because he was an incompetent buffoon that gave a bad image of the empire. If he knew anything about economics and politics, Jeremy, you would know that Trump was a terrible image for America. And have you noticed how the world looks at America as a big fat joke because of Trump? Trump exposed America for the stupidity that it really is. It exposed America for the farce that it is. Trump basically exposed to the entire world how fragile American democracy truly is. That's why they wanted Trump out. It was about image. This is the thing that's hilarious about these people. They don't know anything about politics, yet they will go after people that know about the politics and claim they don't know what they're talking about. Tell me, Jeremy, how many fucking Patreons, are you making, right now? How much Patreon dollars do you have? I mean, your life must be so hard. Yeah, whatever.
Just standing in the way. And that's exactly what was going on. And Trump is their worst fear. Because
Trump is not their worst fear. You want who their worst fear? I'll tell you, Jeremy. The working class rising up against the government and overthrowing it and installing a drastically new government that is nothing like the current status quo. That is what they fear. They don't fear Trump. Trump is a clown.
He stands up against all of this.
No, he doesn't. Trump is the establishment, idiot.
The fact that they continue to push this nonsense and keep people divided. The fact that they are unapologetic about it.
Trump is a part of that too, moron.
They're just out there doing it. They're just out there doing it. This right here from Kamala Harris. We're all part of George Floyd's legacy. I mean, it's just unbelievable. They are just doing it now, and they're not being held accountable.
I guarantee you, if he got away with it, he got acquitted, Jeremy would be gloating if it was in the reverse. Let's not deny it. Jeremy would be gloating. I mean, these people gloated when freaking Brett Kavanaugh got into office. Well, not office, you know what I mean, the Supreme Court. So, yeah, Jeremy would be gloating right now if it was the reverse.
They're not being held accountable. We are truly living in the Twilight Zone.
Held accountable. You guys don't even hold Trump accountable. Have you fucking forgotten that Trump almost led us into World War III a year ago? I know what happened in Iran is a freaking distant memory, but Trump almost led us into a third world war. You want to talk about accountability? I don't see Trump supporters hold Trump into account for everything he's done. I'm not saying Trump is solely responsible, but 2020, most of the unrest that happened in this country is because of Trump. You don't hold him accountable because you have contempt for working class people.
And, I've got a lot more that I want to add to this because, I did see Trump's interview with Sean Hannity. I have full belief that Donald Trump will be running in 2024. I believe this.
He has no chance. Trump is not going to run again. He's old as shit, and the establishment won't let Trump win. They won't even let him probably, win in the primaries. He has no chance. The Democrats, they're not going to freaking let someone like Bernie win. What makes you think they're going to let someone like Trump win a second time? No. They're going to go make sure that Trump, doesn't go anywhere near the White House. The establishment doesn't want Trump. He'll destroy America. Not that I care.
DeSantis will be his VP, and I believe that is an unstoppable ticket. Unbeatable. But I do believe Trump is building things up. He is not.
This fucking idiot is simping for somebody who's no longer in office. Imagine a few years from now when it's revealed Trump won't be running again. Anyway, there's no point of talk about this clown anymore. I mean, holy shit. That was fucking bad. Okay, maybe that wasn't the best idea given the situation, but seriously, holy crap. The pigs. I mean, I'm just going to see if anybody else has any reactions to this verdict. The pigs, considering that there's a lot of pig bootlickers on this website. And it wouldn't hurt to actually find out, who actually did a reaction to it one way or the other. Let's see. Let's see what John Tuck said. Then again, I doubt he even does anything anymore. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God. There's nothing interesting. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, there's nothing interesting that I could get fined for the menace. I know. Let's see what Benny Boy has to say. Ben Shapiro. Oh my God. I'm not going to react to a 47-minute video. Oh God. Oh God. Okay, guys, we have some material here. We're gonna react to little Benny Boy. Let's see what the freaking 12-year-old fucking, whatever how he is. Let's see what he's gonna have to say about this stupid nonsense of, yeah, I understand.
We just learned the verdict.
Well, let's see what little Benny Boy has to say. Let's just see what Benny Boy has to say. That's what I call Ben Shapiro, by the way. Let's see what he has to say about this situation. Because let's hear in his wisdom what he's going to have to say about this.
In the Derek Chauvin trial, and we will be coming to you live with as many updates as possible. Right now, the verdict is guilty on all charges. Ben, tell us what it means.
So it means that I'm not sure whether the sentencing is cumulative, or whether it is they take the top sentence and then everything else falls under that. But because he doesn't have a criminal record, that means he maxes out at 12 and a half years for second-degree murder, 12 and a half years for third-degree murder, 4 years or so for the manslaughter charge. It was pretty obvious from how fast the jury came back that it was going to be guilty on all counts. As soon as they said the jury was coming back today, I immediately said to my producers and publicly that it was going to be guilty on all counts because they were never going to acquit on all counts that quickly. If there had been an acquittal, it would have...
Wow, Ben Shapiro just looks so fucking pissed. He really does. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say this. I can't be the only one that thinks that Ben Shapiro looks like a psycho. He literally looks like a psychopath. I mean, he's something about his face is disturbing. Honestly, then again, maybe sociopath would be more accurate. Jesus. There's something about his. This is creepy.
It's taken a while to get there. My own prediction was that if there had been any sort of real evidentiary consideration, which I frankly do not think that there probably was in this case, it was a 3-week trial. There were 10 hours of consideration.
There was the evidence for him being guilty was overwhelming, you fucking idiot. Unless you ignore the evidence because you're a fascist and you freaking support the police and the military. Then again, you support what Israel does to Palestinians, so it shouldn't surprise me that you would support what the police do in America. By the way, people, in case you haven't known, they use similar tactics in Israel that the police use here. Figure I'd just say that.
Is wildly disproportionate in a case that has this many conflicting fact patterns. That if they came back this fast...
Conflicting? There was multiple angles of him literally putting his knee on George Floyd's neck. What the fuck are you talking about, you fucking weasel?
It would be a guilty verdict. I thought any jury that looked at this would probably have gone hung jury on the 2 murder charges, and then maybe convicted on the manslaughter charge. If you were going to get very aggressive, that would have been an aggressive jury. If you were not aggressive jury, you would have hung on all 3 counts. And if it had hung on all 3 counts, if it hung at all, then the judge would have instructed them to keep going back in the jury room, trying to beat it out, because the fact is that you need a unanimous verdict for either acquittal or for conviction in Minnesota. The fact that it was unanimous that quickly meant pretty clearly that it was going to be conviction on all charges coming out. We'll have to see whether people who had, spent their nights planning for rioting and looting now actually go home, or whether they go ahead and hit the local Target in celebration, presumably.
Wow.
But I think one thing is pretty clear.
The disdain he has for the masses, you could tell by his voice that he fucking hates the average person in America, that he hates the poors. He hates them with a passion. And the fact that he would say that in such a manner that he did, I don't understand how anybody who is poor can actually watch Ben Shapiro. He fucking despises you. He hates you. He looks at poor people as nothing more than leeches. In fact, Ben Shapiro would not think twice about letting you and your family die if it meant that he doesn't have to, pay taxes just so people like you can actually live. This is the kind of person Ben Shapiro is. This is the sociopathy that we see from him. I mean, the disdain he has for the masses it's very apparent, honestly, when you hear it in the tone of his voice, that disdain he has for, the people that actually stand up against the system. Tell me, how is Ben Shapiro not a fascist when he actually opposes majority of the population that actually want justice?
Anybody who watched this case closely, I don't know how closely you watched it, Drew or Jeremy. I know, Matt, you watched it really closely. For people who watched this case closely, there are elements here that it's very difficult to make the case, to me, that any rational jury would have, who just looked at the evidence, would have come to the conclusion that beyond a reasonable doubt, Chauvin was guilty of 2nd or 3rd degree murder. This just did not fulfill the elements. The 3rd degree murder charge particularly is absurd on its face. The 3rd degree murder charge never should have been allowed in the courtroom. The 3rd degree murder charge is a charge for what is generally called depraved heart murder. Depraved heart murder is you throw a brick onto a freeway and you don't have anybody you're explicitly attempting to kill, but you end up killing somebody on the freeway. You shoot a gun into a crowd. That's depraved heart murder. And that was what the 3rd degree murder
He had every intention of murdering George Floyd, you idiot. Are you trying to say that he didn't? If he wasn't intending to kill George Floyd, why would he put on his fucking knee on his neck? It just the amount of bullshit that Ben Shapiro says out of his mouth, he'll bend over backwards just to justify the murder of a fucking black man. This should tell you everything you need to know about Ben Shapiro. It really should.
Charge was. You have to have intent to kill others, right? And then you end up killing one person. It was counted anyway. It shouldn't have been on the docket. The second-degree murder charge required felony assault that results in the murder. So usually that is where you're robbing a store, you got a gun, the gun accidentally goes off and kills somebody, right? Or the guy dies for some other reason while you're in the process of committing some sort of felony. So you had to show that he intended to commit a felony against George Floyd. It's very difficult to say that he intended to commit a felony against George Floyd because Minneapolis Police Department procedure allows you to do exactly what Chauvin was doing under these circumstances. The manslaughter one was a little bit easier to make because the charges in the manslaughter case, you just have to have reckless disregard. So the prosecution can make the case that even if he didn't mean to do anything bad, it was reckless for him not to get off of Floyd once Floyd was already unconscious and once Floyd was dying, he should have gotten off of him and it was reckless not to get off of him. But the fact that they convicted on all three counts says to me that they weren't really looking at the evidence because, again, all three of those charges also rely on a simple question of causation, right? Did George Floyd actually die because Derek Chauvin was on top of him with his knee? What the defense showed repeatedly is that he did not have his knee on his neck, right? There was no physical trauma to his trachea. There was no evidence that there had been physical trauma to his arteries that would have cut off the oxygen to the brain.
Are you fucking dumb, Ben Shapiro? I mean, seriously? Did you not see the same footage everyone else saw? He put his knee on his neck for 9 minutes. I don't know if you're intentionally lying, which I suspect you are, or you're stupid. But no, the guy fucking had put his knee on fucking a guy's neck for 9 minutes, even after he freaking passed out. I don't care who you are, that would kill you, especially when you're cutting oxygen from the brain. I don't know if Ben Shapiro is intentionally stupid or what, but my God. Holy shit.
There are a couple different types of asphyxia. There's physical asphyxia where you actually strangle somebody. There's you deprive somebody of oxygen to the brain by cutting off their blood supply via their arterial blood flow. And then there is a chemical asphyxia, which is drug overdose. And the fact is that George Floyd had 3 times the deadly level of fentanyl in his system. He was high as a kite. He had 75% arterial blockage. The medical examiner originally said if I'd found him dead in his room, I would have immediately assumed that it was a drug overdose. Right. And the only reason that this became a national issue is because of the tape, which on its face.
Isn't it funny how every time a black police officer gets murdered? Isn't it funny how every time a police officer murders a black man, Ben Shapiro and the mainstream media always pushes that they were doing drugs? Isn't that funny? If this doesn't prove Ben Shapiro isn't a racist, I don't know what does. He's just going out of his way to push in his audience, who are mostly white men, that George Floyd was a drug addict and him doing drugs is the reason why he died, not fucking having a guy put his fucking knee on his neck. I mean, how despicable do you have to be to actually, push this lie? And I think those who actually are fans of Ben Shapiro are just as bad, if not worse, but for actually pushing this bullshit.
When everybody first saw it, looks really ugly because it turns out that a lot of policing looks really ugly. And then when you get all of the lead up, at the very least, you don't have to say that you love what Chauvin did. You don't have to say that Chauvin acted appropriately. You don't have to say any of that stuff. What you do have to say is to not even believe that there's reasonable doubt on the murder charges. On the murder charges, where you'd have to have intent, that suggests to me that this was far less about the actual facts of the case and far more about all of the hubbub surrounding the case. This trial never should have taken place in Minneapolis. It should have immediately been transferred in terms of venue. You were not going to find an impartial jury in Minneapolis in the single most publicized criminal justice case of our lifetime, at least since Rodney King.
That's a lot to unpack. I mean, holy shit. I mean, honest, it just, You can just tell by Ben Shapiro's expression that he just cannot stand the idea of a member of the police actually being held accountable. Ben Shapiro actually believes that the police should fucking be able to do what they want, kill anybody they want, shoot first and ask questions later. This is the kind of thing that Ben Shapiro believes. Then, again, anybody that's actually somewhat paid attention to what kind of, regimes Ben Shapiro supports, he supports Israel. And you want to know what Israel does to the Palestinians? It ain't any different than what the pigs in America are doing to the indigenous and freaking African Americans. Ben Shapiro supports the fascist state that is used to crush, the poor working class, to shoot fucking poor black men and women and children. Ben Shapiro is despicable. He belongs in the class of people that actually, it's in their vested interest for the police to get away with murder, essentially. Attack of the Menace, my weight thing is not relevant to this stream, honestly. And I'm just looking for anybody else. Let's see what if some other people, have actually did their comments. I'm just looking. Jesus. If anybody else can find what anybody else said, as long as it's not too long of a video, I'll react. In a lot of ways, I'm actually glad I actually waited to, do a reaction because of what happened. In all honesty, these people, these right-wingers, they despise the fact, or I'm just going to call them fascists. They despise the fact that, let's just be real. For once, a police officer that murdered somebody did not get away with it. Honestly, had it been a black man that was a police officer that murdered a white person in broad daylight, if they did the same thing, you want to know what they would have done? They would have actually supported that officer being put in prison. Let's scratch that. They would actually support the officer getting the death penalty if it was in reverse. It doesn't matter if people like Ben Shapiro support the fascist state. If it's a black man that, would have been convicted if they actually murdered an innocent, person. Let's just say things were reversed. George Floyd was white and the guy that killed him was black. The media and everybody would be universally supportive of putting the guy in prison. We really do live in a fascist state. Now, actually, Candace Owens Candace Owens. Oh God, she's such cringe. That lady. Oh my God, I don't know how anyone could watch her and take, her seriously. But again, it's not up to me to basically destroy Candace Owens, because honestly, reactionaries should actually deal with the reactionaries of their own communities. Anyway, I'm just going to... Young Ripa has nothing of interest to react to, actually. So there's no point of reacting to Young Ripa regarding this. And not to mention, I'll let someone else react to him regarding this situation. Let's see how she reacted to the situation with George Floyd. Knowing Candace Owens, how disgusting she is as a human being, she probably is disappointed.
As we've reported,
that, George Floyd, had justice. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Oh, shit. I know this was... Oh, my God. We got to do this. We have to do this. Tucker Carlson. Oh, my God. Holy shit. Are we really going to react to him on this channel? Are we really going to do this? Holy shit. Holy shit. I can't believe we're doing this. Oh, God. We're really going to do this, guys. We're going to react to Candace Owens. You know, I'm not going to even use the word, but holy shit, we're going to react to her. I'm probably going to want to bang my head against the wall because of how stupid this is going to be. You know, it's really going to be dumb. Oh, God. Oh, shit. All right, guys. Let's do this.
So there was a political context around this trial. Politics shouldn't have any effect on any trial. Again, that's antithetical to what...
All trials are political, idiot. Come on. We live in a society.
Justice is. But they did intrude at every level of this case. We'll tell you how. After the verdict, Joe Biden declared that systemic racism is a stain on this country's soul.
A jury in Minnesota found former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin guilty on all counts.
Holy shit. Joe Biden looks like he doesn't want to be there. I'm sorry. I had to make that comment. My God. The guy could barely hold a sentence.
In the murder of George Floyd last May. It was a murder in the full light of day, and it ripped the blinders off.
Murder. Let's just call it a lynching. Let's just call it what it is. Then again, Joe Biden's half dead, so let's not expect him to actually, know what he's doing or saying.
The whole world to see the systemic racism the vice president just referred to. There was systemic racism.
Systemic racism that you took part in, Mr. Joe. I'm sorry. Even though this is Tucker Carlson, just hearing Joe Biden speak just pisses me off. I just want to freaking choke this piece of shit.
It's a stain on our nation's soul.
A stain. It's always been there, and you helped, maintain it. You think we're fools? You think we're not going to freaking remember the crime bill that you signed almost 30 years ago? Come on, Joe. We're not dumb.
The knee on the neck of justice for Black Americans. Enough of this senseless killings. Today's verdict is a step forward.
Systemic racism, a term that neither Joe Biden nor anyone else who uses it has ever defined with any precision whatsoever. But more striking is Biden's posture. You'd think he'd be excited by this. Just this morning, as the jury was still deliberating, the President of the United States said he was praying for a guilty verdict.
I'm praying the verdict is the right verdict, which is, I think it's overwhelming in my view. I wouldn't say that, but the jury was sequestered now. Not hearing me say that.
When was the last time a sitting president weighed in on a jury decision before it was made? Answer, never.
Let's look that up. No, seriously, I'm going to look that up right now because I think Joe Biden is full of shit. Not Joe Biden, Tucker Carlson's full of shit. Because, let's look it up. When was the last time a U.S. president was looking for a guilty verdict for a trial? See, I'm just looking it up. Jesus. God damn it. I'm just looking. Sorry, guys. Because, come on. It cannot be the last time. Okay, let me rephrase that, actually. When was the last time a president wanted a guilty verdict for a trial? It can't be the only time. Okay, maybe I should have actually done... Okay, I may have to research this more in depth because I cannot find it under a short notice, so let's just ignore it for now. But I have serious doubts that what Tucker Carlson's saying is true.
The White House was asked about this just a few hours later and pretended that Joe Biden hadn't actually said what he actually said.
You're not able to clarify what is overwhelming, the evidence, the case presented by the prosecution?
We're not going to get ahead of the outcome. I expect when there is a verdict, he will have more to say.
The president has talked about the importance of an independent judiciary. Why is it appropriate for him to weigh in on the verdict, even though the jury is?
I don't think he would see it as weighing in on the verdict. He was conveying what many people are feeling across the country.
Yeah, he was just conveying what many people were feeling. He wasn't weighing in as the single most powerful man in the world on a jury verdict that hadn't been reached yet. He didn't say what you saw him say. If that sounds like a familiar defense, it's exactly what Maxine Waters and her defenders throughout Washington are using today after Waters threatened the jury with violence if it didn't find a guilty verdict.
Evidence? I doubt she said that. I doubt any politician would have threatened the jury with violence.
We've got to not only stay in the street, but we've got to fight for justice. But I am very hopeful, and I hope that we're going to get a verdict that say guilty, guilty, guilty. I don't know whether it's in the first degree, but as far as I'm concerned, it's first degree. Well, we got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
So there's a reason.
That didn't sound threatening to me. That again, Tucker Carlson, he knows what he's doing. His audience, are a bunch of brain dead, boomers that are afraid of black people, rising up and saying, fuck this, we had enough of getting murdered. This is the kind of audience he's appealing to. White men that are scared that the demographics are changing. That people of color are no longer, standing around as the cops murder them. And you know what? If a few, shops have to be just, looted or whatever, or some stuff has to be burned down in order to actually force change to happen, then that's what's going to have to happen. Change has never happened through peaceful protest. Peaceful protest is an option only offered by the oppressor, not the oppressed.
Police were all over the streets and cities across the country last night, and it's the threat of violence. And Maxine Waters threatened violence.
Oh, yes. The threat of violence, as if Trump supporters, storming the Capitol in January and even threatening to do so before that if Trump did not win. Yeah, you're really going to talk about threatening violence? You supported it, Tucker. Or have you forgotten? Then again, he's a liar. He's one of the most watched people in America, and it's scary that so many people listen to this fascist.
Before the jury had even begun to consider the facts of the case. That's so far over the line that we read some Democrats were shocked by it, and yet no one condemned it. That includes the president. That includes the most powerful people in the Democratic Party. Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, Steny Hoyer of Maryland. They came out in support of Maxine Waters. And then state media, literally state media, public broadcasting system, came out today with an explanation at the White House press briefing. Watch this propagandist explain what Maxine Waters really meant.
Propagandist. How ironic coming from you. How ironic. Self-projection.
Representative Waters, as you said, clarified. She said, my actual words don't matter. I wonder why the White House isn't also coming to the defense of Representative Waters, given the fact that she's now facing an onslaught of attacks, especially by, I would say, Republicans. I wonder why the White House isn't saying, we back what she said about being confrontational. She was obviously not threatening violence. There are civil rights leaders that are saying that's what civil rights is to be confrontational, to be active.
Well, she also clarified her own remarks, Yamiche, and I think that's the most powerful piece to point to.
That lady works for you. She literally works for public television. And there she is ardently flacking for lunatic Maxine Waters at the White House press briefing.
There was nothing lunatic about what she said. This is the kind of bullshit you would hear these people say during the civil rights movement. This is the kind of stuff you would be hearing. It's funny how history is repeating itself.
Normal, don't worry. It's always been this way. It hasn't always been this way.
Yes, it always has been this way, Tucker. You don't even believe that.
Leaders haven't always talked like they're seized by religious fervor. Here was the Speaker of the House today thanking George Floyd because he died in order to make the Democratic Party more powerful. For his sacrifice, she said. Watch this.
Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice. Because of you.
Okay, that I am not going to defend fucking Nancy fucking Pelosi. I'm not going to defend that, so I'm moving on.
And because of thousands, millions of people around the world who came out for justice.
Oh my God. Nancy Pelosi is a sociopath. I'm just going to move on. I'm not going to defend her.
Your name will always be synonymous with justice. So unless we can change the law, this will be an episode. We change the law, we're going down a different path altogether.
So the guy dies on the sidewalk, and here this lady comes out and politicizes it so completely that he becomes sort of Democratic Party saint. Thank you for your sacrifice. This is grotesque. It's a cult, obviously.
Tucker Carlson's right about that, but what he's doing is self-projection. The Republicans would have done the same thing if the situation was in reversed. Anyway, let's just... Oh God. We're doing this. We're finally doing this. We're reacting to Candace Owens. Oh my God. The bootlickers of the fascist, Republican Party. This narcissist. Oh my God. I cannot believe I'm actually reacting to this lady. Now, I'm not going to call Candace Owens a fascist, but she is a bootlicker. I will say that. Yeah, I agree. Nancy Pelosi that lady is crazy. Okay, people, it's not a long video. We'll deal with it. Oh, God. Oh,
Candace,
God.
joining us, your thoughts on the guilty verdict, guilty on all charges.
It's the wrong verdict, in my opinion, and I think that it's...
Oh, how predictable that the fascist bootlicker, Candace Owens, would actually think it's the wrong verdict. How predictable.
Indicative of the fact that we now live in mob rule. This is mob rule.
Mob rule. Translation, I hate the masses.
Society. I mean, this is based on the evidence that we saw, and this was polluted from start to finish. So to me, the most important element of this, which I found to be astonishing, was the fact that they never released the full police footage.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did, Candace Owens. Yeah, they did. They just released the footage that you don't want them to see. There's so many different, angles that would be recorded with George Floyd, having a fucking guy on his fucking neck for 9 minutes. Are you really going to go there? And okay, my God, I'm so disgusted with this woman. I really am. I don't understand how anybody can like this woman. When I hear this woman speak, the amount of venom she has for like the average person in the country is apparent. This woman is everything that I fucking hate about the fucking establishment. What a fucking show.
They had it, they sat on it, they locked it down. It leaked months and months later after the riots, via the Daily Mail, I think. But when I watched the full tape, I was astonished that they didn't think to just at least add this context so that people understood, yes, this person was high out of his mind. He asked to be put on the ground.
Wait, what? What? Are you fucking kidding me? What? I did not hear what I just heard, did I? Please tell me I did not hear what I just heard. He wanted to be put on the ground. Oh my god. This, I shouldn't be laughing. I'm sorry. I'm looking it up right now. Because that is bullshit. That is serious bullshit. Okay, no. That is just bullshit. That is just bullshit. Okay, I'm just looking for the best footage possible. That's just bullshit. All right, people. I'm switching footage because this is bullshit because I got to show Candace Owens is a piece of shit. She really is. We'll play the rest of the clip as soon as I show this. Because this has to be shown.
God. Ah. Yes, indeed. Man.
Look how they doing people out here. Got him eat on the ground. He crying.
Please. 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 Please, I can't breathe.
Does that sound like a man that wanted to be on the ground, Candace Owens? The man's in pain and he's crying.
Well, you got him down, man. Let him breathe, at least, man. I can't breathe. I've been trying to help out. So let him breathe a little bit more. Neck, man. One of my homies died. He went back home. He I'm about to die to see. Why? Man, I can't breathe my face. Just get up. What do you want? I can't breathe. Please, the knee in my neck. I can't breathe. Bro, get up, get in the car, man. I will. Get up, get in the car. I can't move. I've been wiping the whole car, man. Just get up, get in the car. Mama. Get up and get in the car right. I can't. Get. That's the food. My stomach hurts. My neck hurts. Everything hurts. There's water or something. Please. Please. I can't breathe all the time. Shut up. They will kill me. They will kill me, man.
How can anyone look at this and fucking say that he deserved it?
How are you going to do drugs, kids? It ain't about drugs, bro. You understand?
Y'all don't gotta put on. Right.
Seriously, if this doesn't piss you off seeing this,
Put him in the car.
you're an awful human being. You are an awful human being. That did not sound like a man that wanted the cops to have his fucking, knee on his fucking neck. It is disgusting. Candace Owens is scum. And I had to show that because there's just no way I could let that fucking slide. That fucking cunt saying something so vile. And I will say this. She's evil. Candace Owens is evil. For actually believing that. She is evil.
Was resisting arrest. Let's not forget what they did, the power they had in setting.
It doesn't matter if he was resisting arrest. You don't fucking put your knee on a man that fucking was begging the police officer not to kill him. This is sociopathic behavior, honestly. Candace Owens is right at home with Ben Shapiro. She really is.
Up this narrative to begin with. First, the media said he was just getting his life together. Remember St. George?
Yeah, they do
You
this
guys
all the
remember
time,
St. George, right? He was just getting his life together. He had moved to Minnesota. Yes, he was, had been in prison in the past, but he was just helping.
And how is that relevant to actually him getting murdered? This not only is this fucking racist rhetoric coming from Kenneth Owens, this is classist rhetoric as well. This is anti, poor rhetoric you're hearing. Have you noticed the most common thing you hear from these tokens is classism? She's in a higher position in society, and she talks to people like George Floyd like they're the scum of the earth. This is classism. You cannot separate class and race. They're both one and the same. And Candace Owens, yeah, I'm going to say it, she is a racist. She is supporting the racist system that killed people like George Floyd. And this lady is so stupid, she could be George Floyd at any time if she were stopped by the police. She's a fool. She truly is a fool. Then again, I won't shed a tear if it happens to her one day.
The youth, and everyone was crying, and it was, oh my gosh, this man is was getting a second chance at life, and maybe had the wrong ID or whatever it was using counterfeit bills, and somebody.
He did not deserve to die, bitch. He did not deserve to die just because he may have had a counterfeit bill. I don't care what reason. He didn't deserve to die. That man literally was crying for his mother. Anybody that isn't fucking outraged over that, you're evil. You really are evil if you actually think he actually deserved it.
Called the police, and then he was killed. He was brutally murdered on the basis of him being black. No.
Yeah, he was.
Indication. Nothing was said out of Derek Chauvin's mouth that
I hope for your sake, Candace Owens, that never happens to you, because you want to know what? When you die by a cop, if it ever happens, the black community won't shed a tear for you. They won't shed a tear for you. I won't shed a tear for you. You're disgusting that you would say such a thing.
Should insinuate that this was about being black versus white, but that was what the media ran with.
That's exactly what it was about.
And then they successfully hid every piece of evidence that would have transformed public opinion, right?
Public opinion? A man was begging the cop to take his neck off of... Oh my God, to take his knee off his neck. What more evidence do you need? A man crying for his mother. What more evidence do you need? This is sociopathic behavior. I'm convinced he is a sociopath. I mean, how can anyone say that and claim to actually have compassion for humanity?
Right? Every piece of evidence that would have said, wait a second, there's more here. Then they were upset when I released a video and just went over his track record, because it was clear to me, according
It doesn't matter what his track record is, you bitch. He didn't deserve to die.
His track record, that it was very unlikely that a person that spends, approximately 9 stints in prison was really just getting his life together after having.
Yeah, classes, cunts. Yeah. Oh, yes. This is the common thing I see from these people that actually work with their oppressors. They look up at these people's records, judge them based on that, and say, oh, you know what? Maybe they did deserve to die. It's like this is a common tactic, done by these fascists and the bootlickers. Candace Owens, I hope for your sake you never are in the same position as George Floyd. Nobody will shed a tear for you if it happens.
Having served the last
also,
one.
I hope your children don't actually get in the same position as as George Floyd. That could be you. That could be your children. That could be any of your family. This disdain you have for your community, is disgusting. It really is. I'm sorry, people. I know I'm not black. I know this. But I'm looking at it as a human being. It's disgusting that you would have somebody who has such vile, hatred for a man. I don't care if he went to prison. I don't care if he actually committed a crime. He didn't deserve to die by a fucking pig. And he did die because of a racist cop. Anybody that denies that is freaking denying reality or just has contempt for the poor. That's all this is.
So, to me, I think the saddest part of this is that what we need to acknowledge is that right now, mob rules. The media creates
mob rules, ADK, the masses that rightfully demand justice. Okay, I'm done with this because it's almost, this footage is pretty much done. One thing I've noticed about these people is mob rule is a code for poor people. That's what it is, essentially. It's a code word for the poor, the poors, the dirty masses, the lumpen, whatever you want to throw out there. That's what fucking, mob rule it actually means. It doesn't mean, people demanding stupid shit. When they use it, it's obvious how and what context they're using it for. It's for the poor. Yeah, they do. They look at those masses and they think they're scum. Yeah, fuck America. I mean, this is what we want to save. This is the country we want to save. Honestly, this is the kind of people we want to fucking save. I mean, Ben Shapiro, we all know that he's a fucking dirtbag. That he's always going to freaking look for the bad in everything. Or if it is in reverse, he'll gloat. Jeremy is being Jeremy. Candace Owens, I have the most contempt of them all, though, because she should know better. Because the history of, the black community is tied in racism, and she is working to continue their oppression, and she doesn't care. There's no way she doesn't know what she's doing. I don't think she's stupid. Neither has Ben Shapiro. Jeremy, yeah, he's a dumbass. These people have an agenda. It ain't just them. There's others as well. And Tucker Carlson. They want to divide the working class against each other, black or white. The poor against, whites against the poor blacks. They want to divide us against each other so we won't actually fight against the real enemy, and that is the bourgeoisie. The bourgeoisie are using every tactic they have right now to divide us. And this trial with the pig, is a good example of this. They're playing into, the interests of the ruling class. Even if there's a good thing, they're going to make it turn into a bad thing. So those who fucking hate the cops are going to constantly be at odds with people that actually would support the cops or are skeptical of the abolishing the police. It's like, I know, okay, here's the thing. I know that what I'm saying isn't going to be as effective when I basically rant and rave about Candace Owens being a terrible human being, because I'm not black. From the perspective of a black leftist, even if I say I am not white, they still will look at me as white. And rightfully so. I haven't done anything to prove otherwise. But the only thing I can do is have compassion for those communities and support them in whatever way I can. And the way we could support them is let them deal with the reactionaries in their own communities. I really do. I really wish I could support them, but I can't because, it's not my fight, not exclusively. Candace Owens, though, is an enemy of all of us. She's dangerous. This woman is used by the right, the people, white men, when every time a white leftist, fights for justice, fights for change, wants a better world, you have the tokens used always to counter them. And that's the thing. White and black leftists, we have to show solidarity towards each other because your enemies are our enemies as well. Because no matter how knowledgeable we are about your history, no matter how much we want to support you, we can't do this alone. Every time we actually try to criticize a reactionary like Candace Owens, we look racist. The ID poll bullshit is used on us. We need all the support we can get, and you need all the support you can get. We have the same enemies. And yeah, there are white leftists that there are not worth fucking dealing with. I'm not going to deny that there aren't freaking white leftists that fucking that I don't want anything to do with. The police, though, are all of our enemies. The police is the enemy of everybody in the working class. And in revolution, if there ever is a revolution in America, we're going to need support as much as possible from the people that oppose the police. This is why being against the lumpen is fucking dumb and reactionary. The lumpen are the people that suffer the most under this fascist regime. And anyone that says we don't live in a fascist regime obviously has never been poor in their life, has never actually experienced poverty, being harassed by a cop. Yes, being a white lumpen is nowhere near the same as being a black lumpen or an indigenous lumpen. But it doesn't change the fact that the cops are our enemies. They always have been. They're just another branch of the military. They're pigs. They're called pigs for a reason. Yeah, they are the stormtroopers. And if you look at footage somewhere out on the internet, you have cops that literally look like fucking stormtroopers from Star Wars. And honestly, America does need to burn. I mean, how many instances do we have to hear? How many fucking cops killing, fucking black, youth do we have to tolerate before we say enough is enough? I mean, it's hard to keep up with all the fucking names of all the, people that get murdered by the police. Recently, a 13-year-old boy was murdered as the trial of George Floyd's murderer was fucking going on. And that happened on a weekend when I was working. A 13-year-old boy is dead. What about him? What about his killer? Will his killer be brought to justice? Or Breonna Taylor? And all the other people that have been murdered, since George Floyd and before George Floyd, what about their justice? What about them? Why is it that fucking, they're not being given justice? Do you think George Floyd is the only one that deserves justice? No. And you know what? I'm happy that his fucking murderer is going to prison. But you know what? Every single fucking cop that murdered, anybody should be in prison. All of them. No exception. Fuck the police unions. Yet this is the thing that you never hear. You never hear fucking the right ever talk about the police unions, but they'll fucking complain about Amazon workers wanting to unionize. They'll complain about the very idea of unions, how it drives down wages. They complain about teachers' unions, but they don't talk about police unions who fucking protect the fucking pigs. Honestly, and I'm not going to say this because it'll get me banned from YouTube. And I'm not, and I've already got written up on my at work for basically saying it. But for those of you who understand what I say, I'll say it in a code. The cops should all be liquidated. There's no good cop. Good cops don't exist. They're all fascists. It's just depressing. Yeah, George Floyd's murderer is going to prison. But knowing that the murderer of a 13-year-old boy who, I don't care what he did, he didn't deserve to die. Breonna Taylor didn't deserve to die. Everything that the Black Panthers talked about in the 1960s and 70s is still relevant today. Everything Malcolm X talked about is still relevant today. The cops are going to continue killing people until fucking something is done about it. And no, you're not going to just abolishing the police isn't going to do anything. We have to freaking build something else in its place. Because if you replace the cops, what are you going to replace it with? No, we got to be tactical here. And those who oppose, the idea of abolishing the police or defunding it don't know what they're talking about, or they support the police. For my comrades in other parts of the world, I can't speak for your experiences with the police. I can only speak to my comrades in North America. In the United States especially, our country is increasingly becoming militarized, its police. I don't feel safe walking in the streets when I see fucking cop cars that look like something that I would see in Iraq or in Afghanistan and Israel. I don't feel comfortable seeing fucking police officers look more and more like fucking the SS. We live in a fascist state. We need to get our shit together. There is no fucking, let's fucking reform America. No. And for those of you who follow him, I'm just going to say this. No. Third worldists do not believe that we have no chance in winning, that we cannot win. That's not what we believe. For those of you who've seen the that Ewoks Unhinged interview, you'll know what I'm talking about. We don't believe we're in fucking losing or giving up or doing nothing. We actually believe in a different solution than doing the same bullshit that's been tried 100 years ago and hasn't worked. Third worldists see that America, and along with the Maoists, since we are similar in that way, that America has always been a fascist state, that we cannot change America with a revolution. We need a cultural revolution. And we don't believe that we're not going to win. I believe we can win. We have a chance in winning. But we're not going to have a chance in winning by practicing the same goddamn tactics that have been tried and failed. If we want to build socialism in America, we have to actually look at why the previous movements have failed and learn from it. Not fucking try and reform, not trying to do bullshit through nonviolence. Nonviolence has never fucking worked. We have to be organized. We have to actually counter the COINTELPRO tactics that this government will use against us in the future. That's how we're going to win, by being organized and actually learning from the mistakes of our predecessors. Not practicing the same old bullshit, not fucking shitting on the Maoists and the anarchists who actually are fighting against this fascist state. Unity is what's going to help us win. Not shitting on other leftists who actually have a different analysis on and a different view on how to build a better America. I don't believe in building a better America, but I am willing to support, the idea of building a new America as a compromise to my position if it makes the world safer. My concern right now is not building socialism in America. My concern right now is the empire. America is the most dangerous empire in history. We're going to experience the same thing the police do to us that the military does to citizens in Iraq, Afghanistan, and God knows what other freaking country that the U.S. military is occupying. Our concern should be overthrowing the American empire. Everything else is secondary. We're not going to be able to build socialism without the American empire being destroyed first. Yes. And you know what? I'm just going to say this right now. I don't care if you're an ML, an anarchist, a Maoist, a third worldist, or a liberal, or not liberal, a socialist with conservative leanings. I don't care. My concern right now is how we're going to fight the fascist government that's, coming. How we're going to fight the fucking police state that's getting more powerful by the day. How we're going to fight them. Eventually, they will go after us all. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is objective fact. If you know anything about history, America, the empire, will fall. I don't know when. China will eventually take America's place. America is going to have mass chaos throughout the North American continent. The communists, we need to be ready. We need to start educating the masses. We need to start reaching out to the masses. We can't fucking just be part of a fucking cult and say, oh, this guy is right. Shit on people that actually do actual work, but not do it ourselves. Honestly, it doesn't matter what kind of work you can do. If the only way you can contribute is maybe just doing a little podcast like I'm doing, maybe you could spread awareness that way. That's still doing work. If you're doing stuff on the ground, which that's more preferable, that's something you should do as well. We should do whatever we can to organize. The fascists, will come for us. They will kill us if we don't actually unite soon. We don't have to agree on everything. Honestly. Struggle, unity. And honestly, I think it's time that I read the Maoist Street Code. Because I think it's relevant to what I'm talking about. Honestly, because it's the only thing we could talk. I'm just going to see. I'm looking for the link, guys. Just give me a second. Or I could just basically show I would rather just use my own words. If I can't find it, I'll just basically give you the gist of the Maoist Street Code. Honestly. I'll find it later. Sorry, I can't find it right now because this is a live stream. This is not if this were a pre-recorded stream, that'd be one thing. Here's the thing, people. We unite with the MLs, the anarchists, and whatever denomination you disagree with, on the stuff we agree with, struggle what we disagree with. An infringement on the anarchists is an infringement on the Maoists, the MLs, the third worldists. An infringement on one is an infringement on us all. We defeated the fascists once. We can do it again. There is hope. The masses do not support fascism. The masses are not fascists. The masses are looking for an alternative. And when I'm referring to the masses, I'm not talking about the stereotypical, first world, working class. I'm talking about the poorest of the poor, those who are looking for somebody, anybody to actually give them an answer, to guide them to a better future. The working class, they're increasingly going to become lumpenized as time goes on. We need to actually talk to them, because the problem is we don't look at them as human beings, and we need to start thinking of them as human beings. There is hope to build a better world only if we unite together. Anyway, I'm sorry if this stream went on a somber note, if I got emotional and angry. It's just seeing people basically talk casually or talk about in a demented way about George Floyd like that. A living, breathing human that would still be alive today if that pig didn't fucking just kill him because he could. Let's be real. They threw him under the bus. They would have never have convicted him otherwise. The battle against the fascist pigs is not over. Far from it. We can win, though, because there's one thing. The cops have, they may have more guns. Yeah, they may have the power of the state on their side, but there's one thing they don't have. They don't have the support of the masses. The masses, an increasing number, are rejecting them. They don't trust them, and they're looking for an alternative to the police. There is hope. There is hope. Honestly, there is hope. This stream has been going on for too long. I'm just repeating myself now. George Floyd, may his family rest easy knowing that his killer is going to prison. For all the other victims of this fascist state, the pigs that get away with their murders, may they have their deaths avenged. When I'm talking about avenge, I don't mean killing the pigs. I'm talking about may those people have justice too. We need to continue pushing back. We need to continue to fight against these pigs. We need to resist. Resist, resist, resist. And anybody that actually says otherwise, that actually supports the police, are our enemies. Those who oppose justice are the enemies of the people. So the supporters of the police are the enemies of the people. Is what I'm saying potentially dogmatic? I don't care. I believe in standing for the right thing. I believe in supporting justice. Justice is not convenient. I don't believe in this nonsense that, what you're saying, Darth Sinovia, is divisive. Fuck you. If what I'm saying is divisive. A man is still dead. His family Yeah, they may have some measure of peace knowing that he is in prison, but they would rather have their father back, their brother, their son, their uncle. You can't replace people like George Floyd. You can't replace them. They can never be replaced. Never. And you have people that are even younger than George Floyd, a child. I'm sorry. When I think about it, one of my cousins, second cousin, is almost old enough to be that child that was murdered. Almost old enough. A 13-year-old boy. Breonna Taylor. She got murdered too. And it's not like I don't remember these people's names. It's so difficult to keep track of them. So many these people get murdered. And by the time this stream is over, another person will probably have gotten murdered. It never ends. The police killings will never end unless they're held accountable. And honestly, I have nothing more to say. May George Floyd's soul rest knowing his killer has been brought to justice. Fuck the police. Fuck America. And fuck the supporters of the pigs. Long live the proletariat.